Hello, my name is Mary Ayers, and in this presentation I will share my action project for EPSY 7650. Background and rationale for my project. I began writing curriculum for summer camps after I realized that the low-income, gifted, and talented students at my previous school did not have access to summer enrichment opportunities, either because of the cost or the availability. So I decided to write curriculum, and I put together summer camps for the last 3 summers. First camp that I did was called Exploring Cultures, and students learned about Greece, India, and South Africa over the course of 7 days. For my action project, I decided to revisit Exploring Cultures to narrow the focus to allow for a more in-depth focus on Greece in a 5-day camp. My goal was to create a high-quality, gifted, and talented curriculum that included cultural awareness and rigor while focusing on creativity and critical thinking as an emphasis on 21st century skills. Some issues and problems that I wanted to research was how can I improve the Exploring Cultures curriculum? What is culture and how can culture enhance one's identity? How can the curriculum unit for advanced learners enhance critical and creative thinking, 21st century skills, and multicultural education? The NAGC CEE standards mostly focused on Standard 3, Curriculum Planning and Instruction, which states educators apply evidence-based models of curriculum and instruction related to students with gifts and talents and respond to their needs by planning, selecting, adapting, and creating curriculum that is responsive to diversity. Educators use a repertoire of instructional strategies to ensure specific student outcomes and measurable growth. There are several substandards under Standard 3 that applied. One purpose of the curriculum is to extend and enrich the curriculum offered every day in the classroom. On the lesson planning sheets, the state standards in several content areas may be listed, but it should be noted that the curriculum goes beyond the general standards and curriculum. The project curriculum goes beyond what is offered in social studies, language arts, and science general curriculums by offering an in-depth look at one country, Greece, and studying the culture of the country, which includes all aspects of the country, such as geography, history, architecture, art, literature, game, foods, and sports. The curriculum introduces challenging, in-depth, and complex content by using computer technologies, promoting creativity through activities and the products created, and encouraging collaboration as students work to complete assignments together. Several lessons require internet research. For example, the geography and history lessons require students to complete a web quest and draw a map. Creative products are included. In the culture chapter, students write a poem about their culture, and the architecture chapter has students draw and paint Greek columns. Collaboration is used throughout the lessons by allowing discussions on the topics and group work on projects. For example, in the architecture unit, students work together to discover what shape is the strongest for building columns and if the material matters. The curriculum provides diversity through the understanding of one's own culture in the culture chapter to the appreciation of the Greek culture throughout the rest of the course. Also, throughout the unit, students are comparing their culture to the culture of Greece. When students are exposed to cultures other than their own, they gain a global perspective. In 3.4.3, educators model inquiry and to engage students in critical thinking. Each unit in the curriculum includes one aspect of creative and critical thinking and problem solving. Rather than telling students information, lessons are designed to give students time to research and find the answers for themselves. Students will engage in critical thinking and problem solving through experimentation in the architecture lesson as they discover why cylinder columns work best for holding up a building. Creativity is also shown in acting out parts of the Odyssey. Understanding Self, Standard 1.2. Students begin the work with the chapter lessons on culture. These first lessons allow students to explore the concept of culture by defining concept in a group and discussing what it is and what it isn't in a concept map. Students will think of generalizations about culture and decide about generals and discuss generalizations in general. Students will discuss how their culture shapes their identity through identifying their culture and celebrating their cultures by finding out their genealogy and writing a poem. Then throughout the unit of studies, students will compare their cultures with the Greek culture. Project design begins with finding out which curriculum framework I wanted to use. So I began researching what curriculum design would be best for exploring cultures. The research showed that concept-based curriculum would work best because it aids in deeper thinking and better retention, and creativity and critical thinking were also key components. Also, the curriculum would be built around the concept of culture. Culture would then lend itself to including elements of multicultural education, along with higher order thinking as put forth in the Ford-Harris Matrix. In addition, 21st century skills also include creativity, critical thinking, and global awareness. After deciding on the curriculum framework, I followed Ainsworth's rigorous curriculum design, thought about big ideas and essential questions that I wanted the students to answer at the end of the enrichment experience. These essential questions included, what is culture? How can I celebrate my culture? What are some benefits of studying the culture of others? And how will learning about a different culture increase my creativity, creative thinking, critical thinking skills, and cultural relevancy as I continue on my journey as a 21st century scholar? And finally, what are the outcomes of embracing and celebrating the culture of others? Next, I decided on a template for the unit plan and chapters. The template came from a combination of templates in Ainsworth's book and the ELA planning template from my school. The unit planning template contains a possible layout for a 4-hour, 5-day camp. Chapters or elements of the culture of Greece are flexible and can be arranged depending on the length of the camp or personnel interest and expertise. Chapter planning templates contained 1 to 3 lessons in each cultural element. Chapters included architecture and food, agriculture and food, architecture, culture, geography, history, etc. Lesson plans included detailed directions for the instructors, including materials needed, website links, and teacher helps. Description of context. My project took place at Irmo Middle School, where there are 1,011 students. It is a diverse population with 35% white, 47% black, 6% Hispanic, 2% Asian, and 7% 2 or more races. All students get free lunch, and all performed well on assessments compared to those of the state. Within the school, there is a group of gifted and talented students called the Escalaris Magnet Program. In this program, of the 7th graders that I was able to get information on, 65% were white, 9.7% black, 6.2% Hispanic, 6.9% Asian, and 8% mixed. The participants in my after-school group, there were 4 students who participated, and they were 3 of the 4 were 12 years old. They were all white. There were 3 boys and 1 girl. All were in the Escalaris Magnet Program, and 3 out of 4 scored high on the fall map testing in math and reading. The 1 student who was lower did not exceed but met on the reading part. My lesson for the after-school enrichment opportunity was on the chapter of culture, agriculture, and food. The students began by completing a KWL chart to write down what they knew about Greek culture and food and what they would like to know, and then they returned at the end to write what they learned. They were given some time to research with websites that were already picked out. to look for Greek farming techniques of the past and of the present and what foods were used or eaten. Then they compared and contrasted these ancient and modern Greece farming techniques and food in a Venn diagram, which you can see in the picture. Then we did food sampling. We had grapes and olives and tzatziki and a pastry that I made and sardines and pita bread and feta cheese. Finally, the students made a paper plate dinner. They were given the prompt to imagine that you're having a dinner party with a Greek flair. Decide what you will have for dinner. After completing their paper plates, the students completed a survey. There was overall positive experience with most students giving greatly or strongly agree or very much. No votes were in the not at all or a little bit columns. 75% of students said that the lesson offered a great interest, went beyond the classroom, had great creativity, motivation, and challenge, and aided in helping to understand a different culture. It was fun, and they wanted more opportunities. The teacher participants who completed a survey as well in looking at the curriculum were all gifted and talented middle school educators from different disciplines. They were 80% white, one black female, one white male, and all but two of the teachers were in the RMO School Escalaris program. In their analysis, they were positive as well. All teachers believed either greatly or very much that students would find the curriculum interesting, that the lessons go beyond the scope of the regular classroom. The lessons allow for creativity, appreciation of culture, easily used for a summer camp, extending learning, or after school. One teacher thought that the curriculum somewhat had the right amount of challenge, addresses higher order thinking, taught cultural diversity, critical thinking, and 21st century skills. 50% said that they would buy the curriculum. Descriptions of the products generated, the unit plan, the chapter plan, the letter for permission. I drafted a letter for students to go send home with students to give permission to stay. The survey for the students, the survey for teachers, pictures, and the analysis of the survey. Project uses and future plans. The summer camp experience I hope to use at 2 different middle schools this summer, at the former school where I taught and also at the present school. I would also like to market my curriculum perhaps through a blog or through a Teachers Pay Teachers type site. And also I'd like to present at the Middle School Association Conference and perhaps the State Gifted Association Conference, and share ideas of how other teachers could start summer camps for their gifted and talented students. And thank you for listening.